Welcome friends, hope you are doing well. I am here to discuss with you the second chapter of Unit 1, that is the biological classification. If you are new to my channel, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Now, what is biological classification? As we know, a large number of species exist on the earth. Human and its constant efforts to identify newer species and their potentials for food, clothes, and shelter. In addition, humans are also interested to explore the relationship between different species so that the techniques developed for one species can be used for distantly related species without much effort. For example, experiments performed on monkeys and the results of these experiments can be applied to the human without much optimization. Since it is difficult to draw the relationship between the different species without comparing their properties and group them accordingly, this process of classification is called taxonomy. So, we can sum it up. It is a branch of biology which deals with identification, nomenclature, classification of organisms, and Carolus Linnaeus was the father of taxonomy. So, biological classification is the scientific study of arranging organisms into groups and subgroups on the basis of similarities and dissimilarities and placing the group in the hierarchy of the species. The purpose of the biological classification is to organize the vast number of known plants into categories that could be named, remembered, and studied. So, what is the need for classification of living organisms? The study of one or two organisms is not sufficient to know the essential features of the group. All kinds of organisms do not occur in one locality. Classification helps in knowing the relationship between the different groups of organisms. It helps in knowing the evolutionary relationship between the organisms. Come to the significance of the classification. It makes the whole of the wide variety of organisms easy and in systemic manner. It helps to understand how the different organisms have evolved with time. It helps to understand the interrelationships among the different groups of organisms. It also forms the base for the study of other biological sciences like biogeography. Here comes the artificial system of classification, natural system of classification, and phylogenetic system of classification. All total 3 types. So, the artificial system of classification is the classification which uses one or two morphological characters for grouping organisms. Some artificial systems have used habit and habitat for this purpose. Aristotle in 350 BC divided animals into two categories: anemia with red blood cells and anemia without the red blood cells. And Aristotle also classified the animals on the basis of their habitat: aquatic, fish and whales; terrestrial, example, reptiles and cattle; and aerial, birds and plants. Then, coming to the natural system of classification, and it is a system which takes into consideration a comparable study of the number of characters so as to bring out the natural similarities and natural dissimilarities and hence natural relationship among the organisms. The system employs those characters which are relatively constant. They include the morphological characters, anatomical characters, cytological characters, physiology, ontogeny or development, reproduction, cytochemistry and biochemistry, and experimental taxonomy, and so on. These characteristics are helpful in bringing out maximum number of similarities in the group as compared differences with other groups of organisms. For example, mammals are characterized by the presence of mammal, birds, possess wings, feathers, pneumatic bones, and all of them are cold-blooded. The phylogenetic system of classification is based on evolutionary relationship from a common ancestor. It is based on the evolutionary concept from the Darwin's book on the origin of species by means of natural selection, the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life in 1859. It reflects the true relationship among the organisms. First phylogenetic system was proposed by Engler and Prandtl and in 1887 to 99. Zoologists believe that since similarity in structure represents close evolutionary relationships, their natural classification also represents evolutionary and phylogenetic classification. Coming to the history, in earlier days, when number of species were limited, Aristotle had used morphological differences as a criteria to group into plant and animals. Aristotle was the earliest to attempt a more scientific basis for the classification. He used simple morphological characters to classify plants into trees, shrubs, and herbs. But as the number goes up, this kind of classification did not hold, and the organisms were classified into two kingdoms, Plantae and Animalia. This system of classification was easy, but to do several organisms are difficult to classify in either of the kingdoms. Later, Whittaker have grouped the organism using five-kingdom classification. Here comes the hierarchy of the classification as described previously. You can sum it up from here. Coming to the basis of classification, the classification is done on the basis of the characteristics and morphology. The classification system, the two-kingdom classification, was proposed by Carolus Linnaeus in 1758. It was classified on the two groups as the plants and animals. Coming to the three-kingdom classification, there are three groups known as Plantae, Protista, and Animalia. The new kingdom Protista included all the organisms which lacked the capability of tissue differentiation. This group included algae, fungi, and protozoa. Later, the kingdom Protista was reserved only for the unicellular organisms. Coming to the fourth kingdom classification system, in addition to the Protista, Plantae, and Animalia, the four-kingdom classification also included the group Monera. The studies were done under the electron microscope so that the bacteria becomes visible and the related organisms have a different nuclear structure as compared to others. They are called prokaryotes. As a result to this, Copeland in the year 1956 included the kingdom Monera. Fungi continued to remain with the Plantae in the system. The five-kingdom classification is the most important one. R.H. Whittaker done this on 1959 in order to develop the phylogenetic classification and divided all the organisms into five kingdoms. As the viruses on the borderline of the living and non-living, they have been left out, and Whittaker have used five criteria for delimiting the different kingdoms. Those are as follows. Number 1, the complexity of the cell structure, the prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Number 2, the complexity of body structure or structural organization, unicellular and multicellular. The mode of nutrition is the third one, which is divergent in multicellular kingdoms. Photoautotropy in Plantae, absorptive heterotropy in fungi, and ingestive heterotropy in Animalia. Photoautotropic nutrition is also called holophytic nutrition, while ingestive heterotropy is known as holozoic nutrition, and absorptive heterotropy is known as saprobiotic nutrition. The fourth one is ecological lifestyles, like producers, decomposers, and consumers, which forms an ecosystem. Producers, consumers, and decomposers, you know all this. And the final one is the phylogenetic relationships to create phylogenetic trees. Whittaker's five-kingdom classification included Monera, Plantae, Protista, fungi, and Animalia. It should be noted the Carl Woese in 1977 further divided kingdom Monera into Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. and it was called as the Sixth Kingdom classification. Here is a figure which denotes the Plantae, Animalia, and Fungi, and Protista, Eubacteria, and Archibacteria, according to the Whitaker's Five Kingdom classification. Here comes a chart which provides us an understanding. The properties used to distinguish different kingdoms are given on the basis of classification, include cellular structure, body organization, and mode of nutrition, and also the reproduction. The properties are as follows. Cell type: when the cell is in Monera, it's prokaryotic, Protista eukaryotic, fungi eukaryotic, Plantae eukaryotic, Animalia it is eukaryotic. Cell wall is non-cellulosic, present in Protista, present in fungi, non-cellulosic in five kingdoms, absent in Animalia. Nuclear membrane is absent in Monera only and present in all the rest of the kingdoms. Organization is unicellular in case of Monera, unicellular in case of Protista. Fungi, it is multicellular. In case of Plantae and Animalia, it's more complex, therefore tissue, organ or organ systems are present. Mode of nutrition include autotrophic and heterotrophic. This Protista is autotrophic, fungi is heterotrophic, Plantae includes autotrophic, and Animalia is heterotrophic. There are several other properties described in various books, and you need to know only this only. This is very important. You need to remember this or memorize this for your boards and NEET exams. See you in the next video where I am going to explain the kingdom Monera in detail. Hope you enjoyed this video and thanks for watching.